Durban, let's skip the nibbles for a change, and go straight into the main course. When it comes to footy or can't this weekend, the heat is in London, kids. West Ham host Arsenal, where Samir Nasri will hope to get one over his old club. As good as the Hammers are at home, Unai Emery's charges are pretty potent. XA. Look for goals, and also the away win. Brighton then host the log leaders Liverpool by the sea. For most, this should be a foregone conclusion, with the Scousers looking the business at the minute. However, their boat has been rocked by successive defeats in the league, and then the FA Cup. This is an ideal chance for Klopp and his lads to get back on the horse, and nip any talk of wobble in the bud. Red seems to be the theme this weekend, so this Liverpudlian punt on to Sunday's main meal is a jubbly double, Mara, but I smell a rat. I'm giving to head for the bush and stay away from this fixture. Who knows, Brighton could do Manchester City, and paranoid United fans, a favour. 4 of the bottom 5 teams are also competing against one another this weekend, with Burnley against Fulham. The Clarets have turned a corner, and should take all 3 points at the quaint Turf Moor. Leicester are at home to a struggling Southampton, who are in dire need of any sort hope from this away fixture. Leicester at home are a tough prospect, but I fancy the visitors to grab a scummy point at least, as to give some sort of hope down in the relegation trenches. Chelsea billions meet Newcastle millions, and Roman's army should inflict some pain on a team deep in the Dwang. Then, on Sunday, Everton play hosts to Bournemouth. Back the Toffees to chew on the cherries. However, the big game of the weekend is Tottenham Hotspur against a resurgent Manchester United. Ole reveals his approach for Sunday's big game at Wembley. The likes of Paul Pogba and company are also looking like the superstars we know them to be. Sangoma is quite anti the Devils, as a rule, but the Bones awoke this morning seeing red. Which must be a sign. Go take a punt on the visitors to win, with both teams to get on the board. Talking red, let's take a tea break and get our eye in on the cricket that is on the go. Locally, the game started on Friday, the third and final test in our series against Pakistan. This game is dead Michelin, so I really hope South African cricket is allowing people in Mahila this weekend. The Proteas are without the influential skipper Faf du Plessis, and are being led by Dean Elgar. Let's hope he leads the troops to a series whitewash, which is the favoured result. Stumps, Day 1 ends with Pakistan on 17 halves and trailing by 255 runs. Proteas closed on a high with at VDP_24 taking 2 consecutive wickets in an over to finish with figures of 4 overs 3 maidens 1 run 2 wickets. Last week's Pirates v Highlands Park game that I mistimed on my prediction was an absolute cracker, which ended in a 2-2 draw. This weekend, the games are pretty average by comparison. Amazulu play Highlands, Cape Town City host Goroka, and Bloemfontein Celtic are against Golden Arrows. I'd like to say all home teams should win, but I won't, as the bookies are at it again with nonsense prices. Just on principle, Mshanguti Shabalala may have to take a dip at a cheeky AB double and see what happens. Go with Arrows and Goroka, which goes at 16-1 for the pair. Unbelievable, as Hugh Bladen would say. If you are an avid local footy spectator, then tune into Multi-Choice Disky Challenge, where the best of the youngsters will be on show. Then, we take a paddle across the pond to Australia, where the Wogglers in India begin the one-day international matches. They kicked off at Sparrows Fart this morning. This series should be just as exciting and as competitive as the Test series. Unfortunately for the Aussie Gimps, I suspect a similar result will follow and India will take the series before the last match. To be fair though, Australia should really compete, especially if they dip into the Big Bash League for players in form. Oh, for those who really like a cheeky punt, what odds on all the ANC bigwigs staying in their hallowed seats after a week of debauchery in Durban? I'm out, like a misbehaving minister. Subscribe to our free IOL Sport newsletter at Shabs Gunner Independent on Saturday. Like IOL Sport on Facebook. Follow IOL Sport on Twitter.